Shedeur Sanders isn't just outworking everyone, he's outlasting them. Long after team sessions end, he's still on the field, repeating mechanics with the same intensity he brought to his viral training video. There's a silent fury in how he moves, a visible response to being listed behind Dylan Gabriel despite Gabriel's inconsistency. That contrast has struck a nerve in Cleveland. It's personal now. Browns fans, long used to chaos and heartbreak, have found something that finally feels promising, and they're rallying around it.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
In Sanders, they see more than talent. They see hunger, discipline, and quiet confidence that's been missing for years. Every sign points to a breakout moment. The locker room feels it. The media smells it. And coaching staff, they're under pressure to act. This isn't a gimmick or a long-term project. It's a clear signal that Sanders is preparing for impact right now. With a likely shot post-bye week, possibly against the Jets, Sanders could deliver the spark that redefines the season. Cleveland's infamous quarterback carousel might finally find its stop. And if it does, this is a clip that history will rewind to. Shedeur Sanders just sent a warning shot across the entire NFL with a training video. No flashy press conference. No post-game soundbite. Just cold, calculated, elite-level execution in a workout. And somehow, that's all it took to throw the Cleveland Browns organization into a full-blown quarterback identity crisis. Because now it's not just speculation. It's not just potential. It's pressure. Real, mounting pressure. On the coaching staff, on the front office, and on every analyst who still thinks Dylan Gabriel is a safe option. That video didn't just trend. It hit, and it hit hard. What fans saw wasn't a backup quarterback tinkering in the background. What they saw was a player who's already operating like a starter. A quarterback that, quite frankly, looks ready now. Shedeur's mechanics? Sharpened. His footwork? Clean. His throws? Dialed in with laser precision. Every motion in that video screams preparation. Not performance of the camera, but professional-level intent. And that's exactly why it's rattling the Browns' QB structure at its core. Let's talk about what this means in real terms. Dylan Gabriel is still technically QB1, but technically is doing a lot of heavy lifting right now. His performances have been uneven at best. The offense under Gabriel has lacked rhythm, urgency, and more than anything, bite. There's no spark, no command. And while the coaching staff has held a line with Gabriel, that loyalty is being tested by what's unfolding behind him. Because Shedeur Sanders isn't just waiting. He's working overtime. He's staying late after practice, running drills solo, perfecting his reads, drilling his foot placement, and studying mechanics like someone who's not just trying to prove he deserves a chance, but someone who's already expecting to lead. That mindset, it's contagious. Inside the facility, that kind of energy gets noticed. Teammates pick up on it. Staff notices who's first in and last out. And most importantly, it forces coaches to ask themselves the one question they've been avoiding. What are we waiting for? You got a quarterback who's showing signs of peak readiness, all while the current starter can't seem to settle into any consistent rhythm. And with fans watching every snap and analysts circling like hawks, the calls for change are only getting louder. That video gave fans a glimpse behind the curtain, and what they saw looked a lot like a franchise quarterback just waiting for a green light. And let's be honest, the Browns aren't exactly a team with a history of patience paying off at quarterback. The franchise is practically defined by mismanaged potential. Quarterback controversy is baked into the Cleveland DNA. But what makes this moment different is that, for once, the solution might already be in the building. You got a guy like Sanders, who isn't campaigning in the media, isn't throwing tantrums on the sideline. He's just stacking the work, silently, relentlessly. And that kind of discipline, mixed with elite physical tools, is a dangerous combination, especially when the guy ahead of him is underperforming. And now, with the bye week approaching, it's decision time. The whispers are getting louder. Insiders are hinting that the Browns could be preparing to make a move. The timing lines up perfectly. After the bye, they face the Jets, a team with a brutal defense and a massive national spotlight. If you're going to test a new quarterback, you want two things: extra prep time and a game where everyone's watching. The Browns have both. The question is, do they take the shot? If they do and Shedeur shines, the entire narrative of this season flips. Instead of dragging through another mediocre campaign, the Browns could be staring at a second-half revival led by a young, motivated quarterback who's already earned the respect of the locker room. And if they don't, if they stick with Gabriel and he struggles again, the backlash will be immediate. Fans have seen too much now. That training footage reset expectations. They've seen what Sanders looks like under pressure, even if it's only been in controlled sessions, and they like what they saw. It's no longer just about what happens on Sundays. This is about direction, tone, identity. Shedeur's approach speaks volumes. He's not loud. He's not flashy. But he carries himself like someone who knows what's coming. And it's not just about waiting for the coaches to give him a shot. It's about preparing so obsessively that when the shot does come, there's zero doubt. That mindset is what separates long-term starters from stopgap solutions. And it's not just the fans taking note. From the front office to the training staff, everyone sees the same thing: a quarterback quietly building toward a breakout. And the fact that it's happening with his level of maturity, this early in his career, is why the pressure to promote him is real and growing by the day. So where does that leave the Browns? In a familiar place, honestly. A crossroads, a talented roster, an inconsistent offense, a fan base on edge, and a young quarterback knocking at the door. But this time, the stakes feel higher. Because this time, it doesn't feel like desperation. It feels like inevitability. If Cleveland wants to shift momentum midseason, there may not be a better time. All the ingredients are there. The bye week, the opponent, the buzz, the readiness. But what makes this moment even more volatile is that the internal support for Sanders isn't just external noise anymore. It's creeping into the building. The coaching staff can't ignore it. The players can't pretend they don't see it. And fans? They're already sold. Every throw in that video added to the case. Every rep told a story. And the story is this: Shedeur Sanders might be the best quarterback on the Browns roster right now. The Browns have a decision to make. Stick with Gabriel and pray for a breakout, or hand the reins to the guy who's been quietly preparing for this moment all season. Either way, they're running out of time to act like it's not a crisis. Because at this point, Shedeur Sanders isn't chasing the opportunity. He's forcing it. The question isn't if he plays. It's when. And when he does, it won't be a developmental experiment. It'll be a reckoning. So what do you think? Is it finally time for the Browns to hand in the keys? Should Shedeur start against the Jets, or should the coaching staff keep playing it safe? Let me know in the comments. If you've been following this saga from the beginning, you already know it's more than just another Cleveland quarterback debate. It's a test of whether this franchise is ready to stop surviving and start building. Like the video if you're riding the Sanders wave. Hit subscribe so you don't miss what comes next, and share this with a friend who still thinks Gabriel just needs more time. That clock's ticking. All right, let's not pretend there's any mystery left. The Browns are out of excuses. And the fan base? They're done playing patient. This isn't just a quarterback controversy anymore. It's a full-blown quarterback revolution, and Shedeur Sanders is standing right in the eye of the storm. That training video wasn't just polished. It was surgical. Clean drops, lightning release, tight spirals, and not a single wasted movement. You can talk about mechanics all day, but what Shedeur showed in that footage was command. Control. The kind of control you expect from someone leading an offense, not standing behind a clipboard on the sideline. And here's the real issue now. The Browns have made the situation louder by staying silent. Every game Dylan Gabriel plays without significant improvement. Every stall drive. Every conservative play call. It all gets compared to the firestorm Shedeur ignited with just a few minutes of footage. And it's only snowballing from here. Because that video, it wasn't just for the fans. That was a statement, intended or not, straight to the coaching staff. You want leadership? Look here. You want execution? Watch this. You want a guy who's prepared? I've been ready. And you better believe the coaches saw it. They're watching the same footage, the same reactions, and reading the same waves coming out of the facility. It's not just external hype. People inside the building are starting to whisper, not in anger, not in frustration, in curiosity. Is now the moment? Because if it's not now, then when? The Gabriel experiment hasn't collapsed, but it hasn't soared either. It's been fine, which is exactly the problem. The Browns don't need fine. They need direction, urgency, energy. And right now, Gabriel is playing like someone trying to hold on to the job. Sanders, on the other hand, he's preparing like someone who knows it's already his. He's just waiting for the handoff. This is what makes the whole situation so volatile. The Browns have stumbled into something most NFL teams wish they had. A young quarterback with tools, discipline, leadership, and a chip on his shoulder. And instead of rolling with that, they're clinging to the safer bet. But safe doesn't win games. Safe doesn't shift locker room momentum. Safe doesn't rescue a season. That's why the pressure isn't just coming from fans or Twitter threads. It's systemic. It's creeping into media rooms, player conversations, and film sessions. It's sitting in the coaches' offices late at night while they rewatch the same plays and ask themselves why the offense looks so sluggish. Because deep down they know the backup doesn't look like a backup anymore. And let's be honest, this whole thing is about more than just stats. This is about tone. The tone Shedeur Sanders sets when he steps onto the field. There's no panic in his body language. No erratic energy. It's all calculated and calm. And that's the thing fans are connecting with. That's what analysts are talking about. His demeanor is that of a guy who already knows the game will come to him. You don't teach that. You either have it or you don't. Now combine that with the Browns' current situation. A team that has flirted with relevance for the better part of 2 decades, constantly derailed by poor quarterback management, inconsistent coaching, or just outright bad luck. But now, they've got a roster that's quietly capable of making a run, if they can find the spark. And maybe that spark isn't buried in the playbook. Maybe it's not about adjusting the scheme or simplifying the reads. Maybe the problem isn't what Gabriel's doing wrong, but what Sanders could be doing right. Because again, this is no longer about giving him a shot. That conversation's already dead. This is about doing what's right for the team. If Sanders is the better quarterback, and all signs from the facility, the footage, and even the body language say he might be, then why is he still watching from the sidelines? This isn't developmental anymore. This is operational. And here's where it gets even more serious. The bye week. That's the inflection point. If the Browns don't make the change now, they're telling the world they're doubling down on Gabriel for the foreseeable future. That buys them a couple more weeks of scrutiny, maybe a few more losses, and a lot more heat. But if they do pivot to Shedeur after bye and he performs well, even solidly, they've instantly shifted the trajectory of the entire season. Not just because of what he brings on the field, but because of what he represents. Hope. That might sound dramatic, but let's not pretend like that word hasn't been missing in Cleveland. Fans are tired. Tired of waiting. Tired of just give it time. Tired of mediocre quarterback play in a league where half the teams are built around dynamic, young signal callers. And here comes Sanders. Not just talented, but sharp, composed, hungry. You can't keep a guy like that shelved for long. Especially not when your offense is sputtering. Especially not when the fans are actively calling for a shift. And especially not when the rest of the league is watching and wondering, are the Browns really about to let this moment pass? Because that's what this is, a moment. These opportunities don't wait around. Young quarterbacks like this, they don't stay in the background forever. And if you don't give them the chance at the right time, someone else will. That's the cold truth of the NFL. And now, the Browns are standing at the edge of that decision. Make the leap or sit tight and hope nothing explodes. But they've seen what happens when they wait too long. They've lived through it. Quarterbacks that came in with hype, only to be buried under cautious play calling and indecision. Players who left Cleveland and thrived elsewhere. That can't happen again. Because if they waste this moment, if they let Shedeur Sanders stay buried on the depth chart while the season slips through their fingers, they'll never hear the end of it. And worse, they might never recover from it. This is a franchise that has needed the guy for years. Not a placeholder, not a game manager, a presence, a leader, A quarterback who can galvanize a locker room and give fans a reason to believe again. And the wildest part of all this? That guy might already be on the roster. Not in theory. Not in development. Right now, Shedeur Sanders isn't just knocking on the door. He's quietly building the whole house behind it. All that's left is for someone to open it. So what are the Browns waiting for? You've seen the tape. You've heard the chatter. You've watched the starter plateau, while the backup quietly gains momentum. The energy has shifted. The narrative has changed. And if the Browns aren't careful, they'll be the last ones to notice it. The decision is coming, sooner than they want to admit. When a franchise like the Browns teeters on the edge of a season-defining decision, it's not just about XS and OS anymore. It's about perception, energy, and momentum. And right now, Shedeur Sanders is all three. You can feel in the room, not just in the media buzz, not just in the fan reactions, but in the tension coming out of Cleveland. There's a shift happening, and everyone knows it, even if no one wants to say it out loud yet. Sanders didn't just impress in some flashy off-season cameo. He dropped a legitimate showcase. Footage that's now being dissected and replayed across every sports desk, every timeline, and every Browns fan group in the country. And what it shows is a player who is done waiting for permission, because the effort speaks louder than anything. He's not just doing what's asked. He's doing more. Staying late after team sessions, getting in extra drills, focusing on the minutiae, hip rotation, pocket footwork, shoulder alignment, pre-snap recognition. These aren't hopeful rookie behaviors. This is how starting quarterbacks prepare when they know Sunday is their stage. Meanwhile, Dillon Gabriel is still starting, still going through the motions, still giving you just enough to justify another week, but never enough to shut down the conversation. And that's the problem. This isn't about failing. It's about failing to take over. Gabriel hasn't collapsed. He just hasn't elevated. And in the NFL, that's all it takes for people to start turning their eyes toward the next man up. And this time, the next man up looks like he's already ahead of the game. Because what makes Shedeur's rise different is the way he's doing it. Quietly, confidently. He's not trying to convince anyone with his words. He's showing it with repetition, control, and preparation. Every day he stays after practice. Every time he sharpens his mechanics, he's taking control of the narrative. He's not pushing for the spotlight. He's earning it. So when you hear those whispers about him potentially starting post-bye week, that's not just speculation anymore. That's pressure, and it's very real. Let's talk timing. The Browns head into their bye week limping. Offensively flat, quarterback play underwhelming, and a locker room clearly hungry for a new direction. This is the perfect time to make a change. You have extra preparation time. You have a natural pivot point. And you have an opponent, the Jets. That presents both a challenge and an opportunity. High profile, physical, a real test. If they start Shedeur there, and he even flashes, if he puts together a competent, calm performance, the narrative immediately flips. It goes from should they bench Gabriel to why didn't they start Sanders sooner? That's the risk the Browns are staring down right now. That every week they delay can make them look slower, less decisive, and completely out of touch with what this team needs. Because this isn't about coddling a young QB anymore. It's about tapping into the kind of energy that can actually revive a season. Right now, the Browns are dragging. Not because of lack of talent, but because of lack of vision. And Sanders represents vision. He plays like someone who knows who he is. That shows up in body language, in film prep, in how your teammates respond to you, and from what's been coming out of the Browns facility. Shedeur is already earning the kind of quiet respect that doesn't show up on depth charts, but shows up in everything else. And when the guy who isn't playing is getting that kind of attention, you've got a problem. A good problem, but a problem. Let's not act like this kind of situation doesn't have stakes, because it absolutely does. If the Browns wait too long and the season slips further out of reach, it won't just be the quarterbacks under fire. The coaching staff is going to take heat too, for being too cautious, for overthinking a decision that everyone else saw coming weeks ago. And that's the part that's getting harder to defend. There's a mounting pile of evidence in Sanders' favor, and not a lot left in Gabriel's. The performances haven't improved. The system isn't opening up. The offense looks stale, conservative, almost afraid. And in the NFL, fear loses games. You need someone willing to take control of the huddle, push the tempo, and make the defense uncomfortable. Shedeur's film shows all of that. A quick processor, calm under simulated pressure, no wasted motion. That's the type of stuff that wins games, especially in tight, fourth-quarter moments when leadership matters most. And you better believe the locker room is watching, too. Players know. They always know. They see who's putting in the work, who's locked in. And when that kind of effort is coming from your backup quarterback, it starts to create an imbalance. If guys start thinking the coaching staff is protecting the starter instead of promoting the better player, it creates tension. Maybe not out loud, but it's there. That's the type of thing that can fracture a season from the inside. And that's why the next few days are critical. The Browns are in a tight spot, but not a hopeless one. They've got a defense that can keep games close, a receiving core that's dying for more consistency, and a quarterback behind the curtain who might just be the key to unlocking all of it, but only if they're willing to make the move, to stop managing expectations and start managing results. Because Shedeur Sanders didn't just post a cool workout video. He flipped the narrative on its head. He made it impossible to pretend like this team doesn't have options. He showed the entire NFL that he's preparing like a professional. And now it's on the Browns to respond. They can either embrace the opportunity or brace for the fallout. So what's it going to be? Let me know where you stand. Do the Browns make the change and go with Sanders after the bye? Or do they play it safe and ride with Gabriel until something breaks? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit like if you think Shedeur's earned his shot. And don't forget to subscribe for more, because if the Browns do pull the trigger, we're going to have a lot more to talk about. This is only the beginning.